expecting TSM to want to play safe bot side, but also being aware that they could be more aggressive and they could pick something like the Twitch. Orianna will be locked in here for LGD. They're actually saving their support for counter pick here.
It's quite interesting. I think that, well, like right now, Norless is the one that I just sit there and think, that's the most obvious choice. It pairs extremely well with the Senna from the side of LGD. It offers a slightly more reliable engage than a Renekton, because right now that's kind of what LGD is lacking. And they have no real way to, outside of the Renekton, they have no real way to face check. So, yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, Ezreal Bard straight away there for TSM. So it is that safer bottom lane, and the roaming potential, of course, from the Bard, his ability to influence the map with the Tempered Fate. LGD going through a few of the popular supports right now, but the expectation is that they'll settle on this Nautilus.
Yes, I think Nautilus makes the most sense to me. I think it pairs very nicely with the Senna. I think it gives you strong 2 versus 2. Potential all-in, but of course you have to be very careful with the Bard in the bot lane. And what I think is very interesting as well is this Orianna answer to the LeBlanc. I think that Syndra is a little bit more of a skill matchup, and early levels Orianna can be very oppressive into the LeBlanc. However, typically, low mobility mages are something that LeBlanc loves to play into. And the thing about Orianna is she does get some magic resistance from her E, which does help mitigate some of the burst, but Orianna is going to struggle in a side lane against LeBlanc. You're walking through your jungle trying to rotate from top to mid, there's LeBlanc, one-shots you. Like, but GE is clearly confident in his matchup. He's going to pick it. He was the one that had choice in that setup, and he has been one of the players that I think LGD has relied on to help them out of sticky situations. I'm really excited to see TSM's composition. I think they have a lot of proactivity. I think that a lot of the emphasis is going to be Bjergsen on this LeBlanc. I think it is the first LeBlanc of Worlds 2020.
I believe so.
And yeah, a lot of responsibility is going to be on that start in the mid lane. And what better way than going up against Xie, who has kind of been the shining star alongside Peanut on LGD. So it's going to be an exciting matchup for sure. Will we see another Renekton loss? Will LGD be able to match up 2-1 in the groups? Of course, we already talked so much about the stakes of this matchup. It is very important for both teams. LGD could tie up first at 2-1, or TSM could start to close the gap by getting their first win of Worlds 2020.
TSM have kind of been done a favor by Fnatic, bringing Gen G a little bit closer, meaning that we could have a situation where we even get towards, you know, like a 4-way tie in this group, depending on how the results all play out. Bjergsen on his LeBlanc though, Vedius, he is known for this champ. He's historically been incredibly good at it, 18 and 10 across the LCS and World stage. And his ability to team up with Speaker to get that jungle 2v2 going, mid-jungle 2v2 power, could really influence this game. We've seen it have so much of an effect across the entire course of Worlds. Like, if you can get your jungler ahead, if you can get a Graves ahead or a Lilia ahead, they can just take so much of the enemy jungle away.
Well, this is it. I think that what LGD is going to want to use is their early prio to try and set up the Lilia for the invades. And the question is, will they really be able to do that against the LeBlanc? Questions across the board already. We're straight into the game. And 30 in, you can see that nothing too crazy happening in the early game. A bit of vision has been invested. I'm just going to bring up the minimap really quickly to highlight some of the things. So you'll see that some deep visioning was invested on TSM towards the red side. This does suggest that they did a very early invade to get that information as to where Peanut was starting. On top of that, you can see these wards down towards the bot river so that TSM could counter exactly what Fnatic did to them in their first game of Worlds. So nothing too crazy, just a bit of early vision investment from both sides, and now we're straight into the lane.
Speaker goes, gets the oracles, sweeps away the ward that was in the river. As we saw Bjergsen and Xie just trading a little bit in the mid lane. You can see, like, Bjergsen running the Corrupting Potion will have a little bit more sustain in the lane, but Xie very safe when he gets his shield. Doublelift having got flash there in the bottom lane is it was just a little bit too aggressive, perhaps trying to rush that level 2, but couldn't quite get there in time.
Exactly that, Medic. I think Doublelift and Biofrost had the push, and they thought they were going to get the level 2, but then they realized that Mark was posturing very aggressively.
And now the hook onto Doublelift. Doublelift might even be dead here. The Ignite goes down. Doublelift trying to escape it. He's already burnt heal, and Kramer gets first blood in the bottom lane.
Huge for the LGD 2 versus 2, and it all came off the back of a huge punish and slight overstep from Doublelift. That level 2 is now going to be even further delayed. He does not have the teleport, and already LGD off to a strong start.
He'll be hoping that this cannon stays alive. It should. I believe the minion wave will... Oh, actually, it might go down before he gets there. Biofrost's going to try and hold it, but the cannon is under turret range. A few more auto attacks will be enough to take it down. Is Doublelift going to get there in time? Not quite. That is a huge loss now for Doublelift in the bottom lane.
Certainly is, Medic. It certainly is. TSM already find themselves at a nearly 1k gold disadvantage. That is not the start that they wanted. We saw what happens when you put this Ezreal behind. Fnatic demonstrated it beautifully in their game versus Gen G, and with a similar matchup with the Senna. Just because she is a scaling champion does not mean that she cannot have power in the early game. Now, face check from Longjing.
He steps straight into Speaker. Oracle's coming out as they try and trace Longjing as he goes around the corner. There's the flash. Speaker could chase this. Decides against investing his flash.
Well, now they can just come back later, because if Longjing now commits the TP, which you imagine that he will, the wave is likely going to be pushing in favor of TSM's top laner. And they're going to be able to look for another potential gank. Keeping my eye on, there's the TP coming into the tower specifically. I like this from Longjing. So, advantage is being traded across the board. Of course, the slightly bigger advantage down in the bot lane. Doublelift now finally hitting level 3, but already a pickaxe coming through for Kramer. Definitely not the situation that TSM want to find themselves in.
Such a big deficit. Of course, no flashes on the LGD bottom lane, so there's a possibility that if Speaker can work his way down there, he can do a lot of work. Bjergsen just threading the needle with those chains, catching GA out and just chunking him out a little bit, but as you said, early doors, the Orianna does have a little bit of a trade advantage in the pure 1v1, can harass down the LeBlanc with those auto attacks.
Mark also hovering around the mid lane. This makes it harder for Bjergsen to look for those trades. Biofrost, though, recognizing where Mark is, posturing towards Kramer. I'm looking at this huge stack wave on the top side. Notice these two wards that are actually just hovering in the top lane to try and give cover for Broken Blade at a potential dive. Of course, without the flash from Longjing and no level 6, it means that Broken Blade's actually going to get a huge CS advantage up towards the top side of the map. He's likely going to get that level 6 first, which means that plays aplenty from the side of TSM. We just need to see them.
So what we often talk about is the proactive Shen ultimate, right? The proactive Stand United. You are the ones dictating the pace of the play instead of using it for the shield to try and disengage a player that has been engaged on you. Hook's going to land here only onto Biofrost. Last Embrace comes out as well, but Biofrost very safe underneath his tower for now.
Stacking up those heals behind. He's just going to bounce back after taking a small amount of damage. Looking at these junglers, nothing too crazy been happening, just focusing on farming. They're actually keeping up with their laners, as you kind of expect from a Graves and a Lilia. I would quite like to see Speaker return up towards the top side, knowing that Longjing has no flash and is only level 5. But it's something that I imagine TSM will do. Note that in the top lane, there actually should be a stacking wave. And what I want to see from Bjergsen is look for a push in mid so that he can roam up top and they can actually set up a dive. Even with the ultimate, with a Shen, I think it's very realistic that they can pull that one off. But in order to do that, they need to be able to get prio in mid. And right now, Mark is making that a little bit harder as he keeps showing his face here.
Yeah, the fact that Kramer got the early pickaxe makes his push into the Ezreal really strong. So as soon as Kramer pushes the wave towards that bot tier 1, Mark is able to roam away. And you can see TSM are having to play so safely around the fact that a Nautilus might suddenly be in any of their lanes. And actually coming up here just to help out Peanut on the Scuttle Crab. I played a couple of games with Ender last night and he told me trying to take a Scuttle Crab as Lilia is so darn difficult because you have no CC, and of course when you CC the Scuttle it loses 50 armor and 50 magic resist, so you're kind of just slapping it with your stick until someone comes along and bops it for you.
Good guy Mark, helping out his jungler. You can see the Tiamat already complete for Broken Blade, going to help him with that wave clear. Definitely very valuable against the Renekton. Starting to lose a couple trades though, now that Longjing is getting a couple levels under his belt, and it's that level 6 mark that I'm looking at. Are we seeing any potential plays coming out from TSM? It looks like for the time being, nope. GA just going to grab that blue buff, sitting at level 7. Early Null Magic Mantle coming into his inventory. Really like seeing this from Orianna players. It's just such a good magic resistance item. Meanwhile, Biofrost in the bot lane.
Going in with the Magical Journey, Speaker's going to join them as well. Mark immediately hooks the Graves and Biofrost doesn't quite land the stun and has to flash away. Shen can come down here, has the Stand United, Bjergsen's joined the fray, 3v4 right now. Of course, there's the Stand United coming out from Broken Blade as he comes down towards the bottom lane. It's a 5v3 underneath the tower and LGD are trying to survive. Bjergsen dives in, there's one, Mark down. TSM start to call the alarm bells and retreat as another lockdown comes out. True Shot Barrage chunks out both Kramer and Peanut, but TSM execute the dive pretty darn well.
So, here is the Shen ultimate play that we wanted to see from TSM. They finally get a kill on the board. They will lose some plates and farm as a result of it, but I think they're still pretty happy off the back of that. Get themselves a kill, alleviate some of the pressure. The problem is they didn't kill Kramer.
Yep.
So Kramer still gets a lot of farm in the bot side of the map. He's not really put behind. He still has an advantage over Double Left and is going to be able to push that bot wave out. Meanwhile, Xie pushed a wave, got himself a play. Langjing pushed a wave, got himself a play. So in terms of gold, LGD end up coming out on top because all 5 members of TSM are committed towards the bot lane. So here we see the initial play. They're trying to get a little bit of damage down. They're shoving in the wave. Biofrost forced to flash very early on at the risk of getting stunned up. You can see on your screen as well on the bottom left, people are dying right now.
This is great from TSM. They've actually just caught Langjing out on a rotation, it seems. Went up towards the Rift Herald and have another look at this play underneath the tower.
Good interrupt from Mark there to stop the taunt from coming through. But at the end of the day, the damage from Bjergsen was more than enough. And they're able to get themselves a kill. As you rightly said, they got another kill up towards the top side. Bjergsen now has a pretty good angle on the 3 members of LGD. Not going to commit to it though. Here comes the Shen from the flank. Look at him behind the pit.
There's a blast cone there for him to get even closer. Has the taunt. He's going to dive forward in just a second. Peanut, Mark and Xie have been spotted out. Bjergsen on a ward, but here we go for the big fight. All of LGD in the back of the pit. The root comes down. The shockwave pulls back Speaker. Mark re-engages onto Biofrost. Now Xie stepping forward. TSM retreating just a tad as here comes Kramer from the middle lane. Last embrace doesn't quite connect, but Biofrost is still left for the Wolves. Xie will take him. The Rift Herald was secured though by TSM.
So initially, that 4 versus 3 looked great for TSM, but then they realized, oh, we don't have enough damage to win out on this fight. Looks like we're gonna have to disengage from this one. And unfortunately for them, they end up losing a member. Now Peanut in the top lane.
Broken Blade still has flash, but he's gonna go to sleep and is sliced up in his dreams.
Couple small mistakes now coming through from TSM, resulting in LGD picking up an even bigger gold advantage. Of course, they did get themselves the Rift Herald. Double Left did get a lot of free farm down towards the bot lane. Now Biofrost back in top lane.
Langjing, he's just feeling the hurt as all of TSM continue to dive on him. You can see Bjergsen's coming up through that tri-bush as well. TP's expended by LGD to try and disengage. Collateral damage. Bjergsen double pop, dives straight in, can't hit Langjing, and there's the Dawning Shadow. Peanut and Xie now very healthy. Bjergsen chased away. And it was a little bit too greedy from the TSM mid. Yeah,
and it feels like that these small plays that TSM keep trying to go for end up falling short. 2k gold advantage LGD now find themselves with, and it was TSM we wanted to be seeing these early game proactive plays from, but an overstep from Broken Blade in the top lane ends up getting ganked. Bjergsen tries to dive a tower when he just didn't need to. They got a TP out from Xie. That should have been more than enough. But it ends up backfiring, and then they give another kill over to LGD. And look at that, another plate going down in favor of Xie as well. TSM, they're starting to lose control of this game much quicker than they should be, really, especially with the early game agency that they've drafted for themselves. They need to slow the game down a little bit. They need to wait for the Shen Altar. It's now up. Then they can start looking for plays elsewhere.
Yeah, the last time they used that Stand United proactively, it worked out so well for them, and now they're trying to fight around. The Dragon Double Lift dived in, stolen away, the smite from Speaker. Mark stunned up, and Speaker's on the chase. Dredgeline's going to get Mark just that little bit of distance, but Speaker is having none of it. He's chasing him down, looking for the kill. Doesn't have flash, but does have the dash. Speaker gets the Nautilus.
And now it's weird plays coming out from LGD. Only 2 members trying to secure the Drake. It was a pretty slow clear, and that meant that Double Lift, alongside Biofrost and Speaker, had the numbers advantage, could just steal that one away, pick themselves up a kill. So a lot of trades coming back and forth. 3 to 4 is the kill score. Now Kramer doesn't have a support, so he can't go anywhere near his tower. Speaker can drop the Rift Herald, and that's going to be a lot of gold going into the back pocket of Double Lift.
Unfortunately, Speaker can't drop the Rift Herald because Bjergsen has it, Vedius. He was the one to pick it up in the middle of that battle that we had earlier on, but this should still be plates here for TSM. Biofrost chunked out just a little bit. The plate doesn't quite fall, will be taken out by the minions, and actually Double Lift did secure the gold from it. So
that really sucks though. They really wanted to drop that plate there. That would have been so valuable for TSM. And now they're in trouble because Speaker just gets ulted.
Lilting Lullaby onto Speaker. Temper Fate will keep him alive for the moment. Bjergsen's coming in to try and help out his jungler. Watch out, eat is Speaker. Mark goes in. There's the shockwave. Misses Xie. Caught out just a little bit. Broken Blade comes in with the Stand United trying to join the team, but now he's in the midst of LGD. And it's a 5v1. That's an unfair fight. LGD get their 5th of the game.
And you can see, like, the fact that the Herald wasn't bot meant that the tower didn't go down. Kramer and Mark could return to lane. And then the rest of LGD punished the fact that Speaker overstays, trying to set up, or like he was hovering around that tri-bush that was just behind the tower, which means they end up getting collapsed on in the river. And Biofrost's ultimate, it did buy a little bit of time because Broken Blade's ultimate rather could come through, but TSM just keep falling behind in these skirmishes, and LGD is reaping the benefits. Look at this, level 10 now on the Orianna, 2-0 and 1, has not been punished in the slightest. GA is going to feel extremely strong after this next back, and the rest of LGD feeling very confident as well.
Have another look at this. You can see the Loathing Lullaby comes out into the Tempered Fate.
Yes, and then the Shen ultimate going to come through right now. Going to keep Speaker alive. You can see Bjergsen dives onto the backline, but cannot rip through the defenses of Xie. Immediately recognize that they have to disengage because they're not strong enough to fight at this point in time. And then LGD find themselves with another kill. Meanwhile, Bjergsen just kind of throws the Herald down in mid. Does get 2 plates off the back of it, but doesn't really convert it into much else.
Kramer all on his lonesome once again in this bottom lane as Mark is slowly working his way across there. We've had a couple of games in a row, Vedius, that have seemed quite chaotic, that have seemed like teams overstepping just a little bit, giving away a couple of kills. It feels very similar to the Fnatic game we just watched, but LGD seem to just be coming out on top a little bit in some of these trades, and because of that, as you said, they have about a 1,800 gold lead.
Yeah, I feel like we've seen on both sides just a couple of positional errors that have been quickly exploited by the other side, and unfortunately for TSM, they've just made one too many more than LGD, just kind of put them in this position.
Bjergsen lands the root. There's the Tempered Fate. Biofrost and Speaker try to trade onto Xie. The Shockwave's going to bring them back. Dawning Shadow coming out as well. Xie gets the shield, and TSM are forced away.
Early magic resistance combined with the E makes Xie a difficult one to dive.
And because Biofrost's not in the lane, LGD can just take down this tower. Can't quite secure it yet as the wave comes forward. You actually saw TSM did get more plates in the early game, so they had just that little bit extra gold from there. But the extra kills for LGD and slight CS discrepancies, 20 in the mid lane, 30 in the top lane, giving LGD that gold lead.
I think that LGD have done a great job of finding these advantages, and a lot of it started with the bot lane 2 versus 2, getting that kill onto double lift. The fact that they've been able to find these multiple picks onto TSM has resulted in them being in a very commanding position. Now look at them, they're just taking down these outer towers. They don't need a Rift Herald, they don't need to trade it for another objective. It's just punishing the mistakes of TSM. And again, the reason why that mid tower went down is because 3 members tried to set up a dive onto Xie. They couldn't pull it off, they invested a lot. That means that they're forced to reset, and Xie and Peanut are like, I guess we'll just take this then. So they now extend their gold lead to about 3K. TSM find themselves on the back foot.
And Bjergsen sitting 4th in the total gold charts is about 800 behind his lane opponent. This LeBlanc can be deadly. She can have an incredible impact on the game, especially when you're playing around Fog of War, but you do need some of those items. You do need some of that extra burst behind your spell combos to really be able to catch people out. So you can see now Bjergsen working his way down towards bot. In case Kramer had stayed around, he hasn't. They're going to give the gold across towards Bjergsen down in that bottom lane and just try and funnel as many resources onto this LeBlanc as possible.
Exactly that, Medic. They're trying to make Bjergsen the man in this game. Oh, that's huge.
Loathing Lullaby coming up, the knock-up. There's the double sleep. Watch out. Eat goes Biofrost. And the Tempered Fate can't save him in time. Bjergsen is on the bottom side of this fight, could rejoin. But LGD will just walk back through the jungle. Double's going to have to Arcane Shift away. Speaker's in a good position if he wants to jump on only Mark, but TSM actually stepping into a little bit of darkness in their own jungle. Peanut's going to start up the Ocean Dragon now. Kramer working his way up from the bottom lane. Should be the first dragon of the game for LGD.
And Broken Blade trying to push through the top lane so that he can try and trade something back for this Drake, but LGD, they find themselves another pick, they're going to find themselves another Drake. More items are going to continue to come through. You can see the Black Cleaver starting to get worked on by Kramer. Also notice that the Leandries is very quickly starting to get completed for Peanut. And this Orianna is just so strong. You expect the Banshee's Veil to come through from Xie, and for anyone that has played LeBlanc, you'll know that Banshee's Veil really sucks because a lot of your damage comes from the combo effect, so you land one ability and then you follow it up with another. And that Banshee's Veil mitigates a lot of that, so a really valuable item purchase, and it gives you a lot of helpful magic resistance as well. So Xie is only going to get harder to kill. After that, he can build even more damage, and then LGD's comp is going to be a difficult challenge to face when the team fights come.
TSM, on the other hand, they do have some strength, right? You've got the Ludens finished on the LeBlanc, you've got the Manamune stacking up. You see Bjergsen trying to trade here, and the Stand United, you've got these proactive plays, they dodge away from the shockwave, and they just take down Xie.
So I was just about to say, the thing that TSM need to be doing with their comp is looking for picks on a side lane. And this is a great example of finding one. Xie felt very confident in the 1v1. The thing he didn't appreciate was it ain't a 1v1, mate. Shen ultimate is there, primed and ready to go. And I think the investment is worth it for TSM because that's a lot of valuable gold that you're going to get in your back pocket. It's going to slow Xie down a little bit. Hey, they're even going to get a bit of tower damage on the top side. TSM needs someone to catch this top wave. Looks like LeBlanc is going to reset and go and catch that. And this is what we need to see more of from TSM. Utilizing the Shen LeBlanc combo, attacking these side lanes, looking for picks that
there's a TSM behind them.
They've overstayed.
Speaker caught out to start off, and here comes Xie. He's not happy with the fact he was just killed. Speaker killed by Peanut. Teleport out here from Broken Blade. It's not what you want to see if you're TSM. Once again, just those positional mistakes, those overstays, costing them big.
Yeah, and a good utilization of the teleport from Xie as well. He had the deep flank, he could collapse on it. 2 TPs were invested for that kill, and honestly, LGD aren't going to get a huge amount outside of a single kill. So, like, there is definitely a silver lining, but it was a situation where TSM, they just overstayed a little too long when they didn't need to. They're now going to try and cross-map this play into a tier 1 top tower, but that tower is still very healthy. You can see Xie paranoid to face check any of these brushes.
Don't really blame him. Like, I've been burst out by LeBlanc enough times to know that she can be a very scary opponent. Doublelift continues to scale up on this Ezreal as well. He's got the Stinger alongside the Sheen. He's going Trinity Force Ezreal, not the Iceborne Gauntlet. Wants that upfront damage. And team that up with the Serrated Dirk. Yumu's almost complete here for Speaker. There is a lot of DPS on TSM. It's just about being able to navigate team fights effectively against a Senna, against a LeBlanc. Against an Orianna, against a Lilia, right? Like the zone control that LGD will have in a fight is pretty monstrous.
Certainly is, and that's why I'm kind of looking at Doublelift to be the kind of, I'm trying to think of a word, the guy that will save them, basically.
Savior?
Yeah, that's the word, savior. You'll notice that he is sitting at 195 CS at the 20-minute mark. He's likely going to get that up to 200 as well. So even though he died early, he's been able to come back very nicely in terms of experience, farm, and itemization. He's now got, excuse me, the Mura mana fully stacked. The Trinity Force is likely going to be completed soon. And ideally, he gets that finished before the next Dragonfly, which LGD are almost certainly going to contest.
You can see him right now trying to gain vision control. A minute 20 before the fiery Infernal Dragon joins us on the Rift. Bjergsen still pushing in top lane. He does have teleport. So at the moment, LGD with a teleport disadvantage, TSM with that advantage can use some split push pressure, can get Xie up on this top side of the map and allow TSM to have just that man advantage down towards the Dragon.
Well, LGD are actually conceding a lot of time and pressure around the bot side river, which I think is a bit of an oversight, but it looks like TSM aren't actually going to take much advantage of it. I guess they're a little worried because the Ezreal needs to reset. Right, okay, that makes sense. So Doublelift will now complete the Trinity Force, and this is where I hope we get to see the Dragon dance begin. Let's have a look. Control wards are stacked in the inventory of TSM. LGD still need to get that reset. Looks like Mark is now coming back out onto the map, but TSM are going to get access to the river first. They're going to put in very deep vision. I feel like they just need to ward the choke points because the thing is, wow, look at this. LGD just going to walk straight through mid lane. The TP needs to come through soon from the LeBlanc because LGD, they're looking for a fight.
Bio first caught in the last embrace. Teleport coming in. There's a flank position here for Bjergsen. Rift Herald was popped. Broken Blade jumping in, trying to get the Torn off. Lang Jing's already dived onto the back line, and Speaker was his target. On the front line is Broken Blade. Bjergsen being forced away. The Stand United just being used for the shield because you know that Broken Blade was gonna die. Speaker down as well. Lang Jing trading against Bjergsen and Doublelift. He'll get removed from the fray. But now Kramer is on the hunt. So are Mark, so is Xie. Bjergsen, their first target, flash in. The ball of death finds its mark. Doublelift stunned against the opposite wall, and Kramer just needs a few autos to finish it off. Xie takes it. LGD find a resounding team fight in the river.
And even though TSM gained access to the river first, LGD didn't care. They just walked through mid lane into the river and said, we're looking for a fight. We're ready to go. We have also hit our item spikes. They drop the Rift Herald mid. They get themselves another tower. They're going to secure the second Drake of the game. beautiful fight for LGD. They're going to propel the gold lead even more.
Yeah, 4,000 gold ahead now, and you could see what TSM were thinking. They have this great flank from Bjergsen coming in on the ward on the top side.
The problem is it's so far away, and this was such a good response from Kramer. Broken Blade flashes in taunt. If they get this, they can win the fight immediately, but he's able to disengage. And now Broken Blade's in a very awkward spot. The rest of LGD is just able to chase him down. Meanwhile, Bjergsen's getting zoned away by Longjing. He needs to be threatening this backline of LGD, which he just isn't able to do. And the moment TSM commit to that play, they just don't have any tools left. And this is why in the 5v5, LGD should be considered stronger. TSM need to find these picks. They should be warding these choke points. And then as LGD walk in, that is when you pick them off. You shouldn't be going for this.
Go for it. The chains still connect. Bjergsen just needs to jump in. He gets it in the end. I thought for a second maybe he misstepped, but Peanut is down, and that's the flash burn and 30 seconds on the jungler, Vedi. I mean, Baron is available. TSM might just run a Hail Mary now.
This was a great pick, and this is what they need to keep finding more of. With the jungler dead, as you rightly said, maybe they're just going to take the gamble. Shen can tank this for a while. They should be spotted out. Here we go. They're going to start this one up. What flashes are available? Only marks from the side of LGD. Let's see how fast TSM take this one down.
G8 does not have Shockwave. Kramer has the Dawning Shadow, the Depth Charge available as well, and you can see using the Curse of the Black Mist, LGD are going to try and step forward. There's a flank position here for Bjergsen though, and if he can get onto that AD carry, he can absolutely burst him. In goes Mark, in goes Bjergsen, but he can't quite get onto the backline. The Dawning Shadow coming out, True Shot Barrage is being used. Bjergsen's still not really in this fight yet. TSM have been forced away from the Baron. Speaker has to use the Blast Cone to get to safety. And in that time, Peanut has respawned and can rejoin LGD.
Bjergsen had such a good flank, and he misses everything. He isn't able to execute anyone. The point of this LeBlanc is you get onto the backline, and even if you don't one-shot someone, you chunk them out, right? And yes, there is healing on Kramer, but that's all the confidence that TSM would have needed to be able to turn that fight around. But he goes in, and then immediately dashes back out again. So LGD's like, okay, cool, we'll just 4v5, we don't care. They run TSM down and force them out. Now TSM is looking for a pick.
Remember, no flash on Kramer. Broken Blade just looking to catch out Kramer, and Double Lift flashing forward to make sure the enemy AD carry died.
This game is wild, man. It's just a matter of pick after pick from both sides, but TSM is now the one that comes out on top as Kramer is overextended in the mid lane. Peanut, though, still alive, does have the smite, which means that this Baron play could be a little bit more dangerous to TSM.
It feels like quite an aggressive play if you're not immediately going to go for the objective, because there's no dragon up, there's nothing else really for you to take. You gave up mid-prio by going towards the dragon pit, so yes, they do kill Kramer, but they burnt their flash for it. And now Double Lift is that little bit more vulnerable when it comes to fights. However, the proactivity is good. We have seen TSM across the course of this tournament sometimes just rest on their laurels a little bit. Allow the game to come to them. Here they are taking the game by the scruff of the neck and trying to work a way back through this 3k gold deficit.
I think LGD is in a much more commanding position though. You know, I don't think that's any surprise when you kind of look at the gold, but I'm looking at the itemization coming through now. Kramer working on his third item. The death cap is slowly being worked on by Xie, and once he gets that finished, I just feel like it's going to be so much harder for TSM to be able to win out. They need to just keep looking for picks. Utilize the fact that LeBlanc is very mobile, keep creating these pockets of vision where LGD don't know what's going on, because this next Drake fight, unless you find a pick before it, you're going to have to concede it. LGD is just in too much of a commanding position to be able to just go for a straight up front to back. And if they do, they're likely going to lose the Baron as well. So TSM need to play this patiently, need to look for those opportunities, because trust me, LGD has been doing that consistently throughout this game, and every small misstep that TSM has made, they've been ready to punish it.
Oh, TikTok on the Shen ultimate. Stand United, about a fifth of its cooldown left. Broken Blade down in the bottom lane, can rejoin anyone in about, I'd say, 20 seconds or so. Right now, LGD are gaining mid-priority. The vision control for TSM is mostly around that topside jungle.
Look at the pings in the mid lane from LGD. They're just like, let's go mid, let's go mid.
Double Lift has no flash, he's got no flash, he used it already, and Mark locks him down, and Double Lift is dead. Now TSM are looking for a pick in the side lane, but this might just be the inhibitor in the mid lane, Vedius.
I mean, we were talking about it, right? Like, LGD, they'll punish these mistakes. They're going to interrupt the backs as well. Beautiful ultimate there from Kramer. The TP going to be forced out, but that's the inhibitor gun. The damage has been done. LGD walk away with a kill, an inhibitor, and they're going to get the dragon to boot.
TSM once again trying to be proactive, but LGD, well, they played them at their own game. Mark flash forward, caught out Double Lift. And it was so difficult for Double to do anything in that situation.
I mean, it was an easy decision for LGD to make because they recognized that 3 people of TSM were topside, and they were like, you know what, if you're going to send 3 people top, we'll send 3 people mid, because that's how trading works. So we're going to push down mid, and then Doublelift tries to hold the line, uses his E too early, immediately gets punished by Mark. So LGD just picking up and finding these moments to be able to punish TSM, and they're able to do it now. They're playing towards the Dragon Soul, which TSM is going to be forced to fight. They can also set up for Baron if they want to, but there's no need for LGD to force, because, again, the longer this game goes on, the easier it's going to be for LGD to play.
That Rabadon's Death Cap on its way for Xie now as well. Liandry's complete on Peanut. Blade of the Ruin King and the Black Cleaver for Langxing, alongside a Black Cleaver for Kramer. Like, he's at 3 items. This is a very scary Senna right now. Saw earlier, he's at least 40 stacks, probably on his way towards 60. And LGD, well, I'm not sure what that TP is about, but it's there. Oh, it's Xie. I thought it was Langxing coming in. I was very confused. But yeah, Xie joining the team makes sense. Bjergsen doing a good job of getting the Scuttle Crab here to just deny that little bit extra that LGD could have had in terms of controlling the river. But Mark is looking for the flank, and he's got depth charge once again. Bjergsen low on mana. Mark, the hook will reset off terrain hits, but doesn't give you all of the cooldown back.
Okay. Fair enough. I like to play for LGD, move through the top side jungle, get a bit of deep vision in. And now they're going to control the Baron area. Of course, the Drake is spawning for a very long time. TSM have their eyes on Kramer. Does now have the flash back up. Meanwhile, Broken Blade still pushing in the bot side of the map. TSM will finally be able to take down this tier 1, but LGD not too upset about that. At this point in the game, losing that objective is absolute.
Does bring that goal just that little bit closer though, Vedi. It's only 2,000, well 3,000, 2,500 between these two teams right now. TSM have been able to keep that a slim margin, and you have to remember how important this game is for TSM. Like 0-3 in this group is almost a death sentence. Not saying you're guaranteed to get knocked out, but you would have 3 teams at 2-1, and you'd really have to sweep the second week of group stage. For LGD, of course, a win here ties them up with Gen.G and with Fnatic, and gives them that opportunity to fight for a quarter-finals spot.
This was always going to be a difficult group for every team in it. And unfortunately for TSM, they've kind of drawn the short end of the stick. They have not been able to find wins against Fnatic or Gen.G. And as you rightly said, this is an extremely important game for them. Ending first week 0-3 is not how they wanted to start their Worlds. Bjergsen now goes in to get a bit of poke off, but LGD, considering how their play-in started, I think expectations were that they would not be in this kind of position. Their only loss so far in group stage was to Gen.G, and a win here would tie them for first, with both Fnatic and Gen.G making week 2 all the more exciting.
And historically, teams that go through playoffs do make a resurgence when it comes to the group stage. I look back at Fnatic, G2 in previous years, Cloud9 have traditionally come up through the play-ins and then had very deep runs. So maybe LGD just needed those few games to wake themselves up. They did go 1-3 in their group stage there. Looking to not repeat that performance on the world's main stage. For now though, Baron up, a minute 49 on the objective. We expect everyone to fight over this Infernal Dragon. It would be Soul for LGD. In TSM, you do have a 3-item AD carry. You've got Death Dance now on the Ezreal. You've got 2.5 items on Bjergsen. You have a very tanky top laner in the form of Broken Blade on this Shen. The question is, can you out-teamfight LGD?
Well, so here's the thing. If Bjergsen one-shots Kramer or Peanut, there's a world in which TSM win. But the 2 people that I mentioned both have stopwatch. So, like, it's not an easy task. And it seems like LGD are very aware of how they could potentially lose this game. So it's an uphill battle for TSM. They have to find a miracle. They need LGD to make a mistake. And if they can find it, then there's a chance they can turn this game around. But the Dragon spawns in 50 seconds. LGD are pushing this wave in deep. So they can guarantee this prio, move into the river, maybe even reset to restock some of this vision, because Mark running a little low right now.
The one good thing for TSM is that inhibitor is respawning. No more super minions coming in the mid wave. In fact, you can see the wave right now that is at the inhibitor itself is only normal casters and melee minions. So Bjergsen should be able to clear that out pretty quickly. And now LGD, prime position to fight around the Infernal. Peanut's going to take the blast cone away, you expect. Just waits a moment to see if there was an opportunity to engage, but there's a great tempered fake. Catches Kramer, Bjergsen looking for it. Depth shot's gonna land on him. He's knocked away. Kramer uses the stopwatch, double lift hooked. Does have the flash back up. LGD disengaged to the fight. What have we burnt? We burnt a tempered fake for a depth charge. And a stopwatch is gone on Kramer, so now Bjergsen has a slightly easier task of catching out that AD carry. LGD gonna start it up. This is it, TSM. This is the moment to fight. 4,000 HP on the Dragon. TSM looking for the flank. Bjergsen trying to come in from the side, but already Stand United has been used and Bjergsen's jumped into the pit. Hooks goes in, Speaker called out, and there is the Dragon secured by Speaker. Team Liquid, TSM able to fight this one out. Biofrost forced back, but you can see Double Lift has been caught. He is dead. Biofrost is next on the menu, and although you got the Dragon, you do not win the fight, TSM. LGD on the front foot now. Biofrost being forced away by Peanut. The Swirl Seed goes wide, but it's only Broken Blade and Peanut left alive. Biofrost left alive. Biofrost will just about escape with a final Caretaker's Shrine. Peanut looking for the Swirl Seed, can't land it. Swings around the hammer. Mark goes down, but the rest of LGD are pushing in the mid lane. Inhibitor their target, and maybe even more than that. 13 seconds on Speaker, 17 on Bjergsen. Broken Blade being forced away here by Peanut, and the rest of LGD actually just want this kill. Teleport used, as Broken Blade will be able to escape, doesn't die in time. He gets back to the Nexus Towers, and the tier 2 in the bottom lane will be forfeit as well. TSM, you stopped the soul from happening, but you did not win the fight.
Beautiful play from Xie there. His use of the ball to just chunk out Bjergsen stopped him from getting onto the back line. And while they were not able to secure the fight, the moment that Bjergsen died, it became so much easier for LGD to play the 5 versus 5. Just running down TSM as they tried to escape. Shen couldn't even get involved because Bjergsen died before he arrived. And again, I have to give so much props to Xie there because his ball positioning was perfect to just deny Bjergsen that access to the back line.
And now, TSM, who they've been able to delay the game for about 3 minutes. They lost their inhibitor in the mid lane, that's a 4-minute timer before that comes back. But there is a Baron on the cards, and LGD seem hungry for it. 6,000 gold lead for them, Kramer stepping up. 4 items complete now on the center. Infinity Edge in his inventory. And Mark just very willing to be the front line for this LGD team. His hooks have been on point. Bjergsen is down towards the bottom side river. LGD have gained total control of the Baron area right now. Peanut stepping forward, fighting over mid control. Bjergsen coming in. Lang Xing is not with the team right now. He does have teleport. He's going to get that top lane pushing in towards the TSM base.
Now that Bjergsen has the death cap, his ability to one-chop is definitely stronger. Problem is, once again, still the stopwatch on Peanut. Kramer has the flash available, so he can get out of harm's way.
My major issue is, where does he TP? There aren't any wards. There's no flank position for him to get into this.
He's going to have to TP into mid lane, I imagine. Like, he has no other choice. Unless Broken Blade can drop the control ward right here. He's stepping in behind them. This is his way into the back line. Here we go.
6,000 HP on the Baron. LGD in a little bit of 2 minds, deciding whether they want to fight her or whether they want to fight TSM. They force TSM back. Bjergsen is still in a very good flank position, not spotted on any vision. Broken Blade, the one hooked up here. Bjergsen is in the perfect spot to catch out Kramer. Kramer flashes away from the chains and just about survives. The shockwave hits on 2. Double lift kills Kramer, but the shockwave is massive for Xie. And now LGD just rampage through the TSM backline. Double lift tries to cleanse and get himself away. Can dash in just a second. The mystic shots are hitting. There's the arcane shift across the wall, but Lang Xing is having none of it. He will chase him down. Double lift once again, trying to get away from this mark. Ignites him. The Ruthless Predator stun connects, and that is it. Only Bjergsen left alive for TSM.
That was the flank for Bjergsen, but it was the fight for LGD. Lang Xing is going to end the fight by killing Bjergsen at the very end, and LGD now with 4 members strong are looking to end the game.
Try as they might, TSM could not find the win. LGD too strong on the day. They will tie up with Genji and Fnatic at 2-1 in this group.
Beautiful team fight at the end there from LGD. Xie once again with a fantastic shockwave and playing the fight beautifully. The plan from TSM was to try and pinch the jungle pool from Peanut, but even on the Lilia, he was still able to have an impressive performance, and they couldn't find those early game picks. They were the ones that kept getting caught out. LGD kept finding these opportunities, and it ended up coming down to the fights that LGD had a better comp for, and they were able to outplay TSM.
Yeah, you can see right at the final fight There was a moment when you thought, well, maybe Bjergsen can kill Kramer here. He almost got it. The chain just didn't quite connect. Kramer with the fast reactions to flash away. And those are the moments that define games at this stage. Like, in Worlds, it is milliseconds a lot of the time. It's those instant reactions that can define whether you win or lose a game.
I mean, the other problem is that even if that did pan out, like, there was still Shie, there was still Lilia, who were both so fed, and it kind of got to a point, while yes, that was a great flank and it was a great pick, like, it was too little too late.
Yep.
There were other great flanks that he had that he could not make work out, and some were as a result of LGD's good positioning, others were a result of Bjergsen just fumbling the combos, and it's a situation where a lot of the weight of this game fell on his shoulders, and unfortunately, he wasn't able to convert it into big enough leads that allowed them to be able to come out on top. So TSM now find themselves in a 0-3 situation and a massive uphill battle to climb if they still want to get out of this group.
Yeah, definitely a difficult situation to be in, but we're going to check out LGD's Mercedes drive to victory. That fight around